is the right live video. We're trying a new bit of software today. So if you can't see us and you're still in the lobby of the main live show, well, next time it won't happen. Today I'm joined by one of our wonderful members and someone we really wanted to get on because he just has really good opinions and seemed like a really good guy. Roston, how are you?
Not too bad. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate being on and hopefully I can add something different, something new, and something enjoyable. As you can see, I said earlier, I got the team to join us in the background. They're all very excited, but for some
Yeah.
reason they're frozen, so maybe their web stream needs to be restarted.
Yeah, well, hopefully Joe will be with us in the next few minutes when he's got his issues sorted out. But yeah, let's crack on with it, Roston, because we've finally won a game before an
Yes.
international break. And not only that, I felt like there were things in the game that made me feel a lot more upbeat about the
Mhm.
future because I was questioning whether we'd found a way to kind of play when we don't have our ideal midfield profiles and still progress the ball and, go back to how I felt like when your side will win more games than they lose. And I felt like that. I felt like that Spurs was back. What did you make of it anyway, before I put too many words in your mouth?
It's fine. I have seen the game in dribs and drabs and through commentary and really tried to get a sense of what it's like before I go seriously deep diving into the footage to see what's up. So in a way, I'm kind of spoiling it for myself, but also it's good to sometimes be removed from the game as it's happening live, so that you're not getting all of the drama from your other Spurs fans who can't take it, and everything is bad until it's fantastic. But the general consensus is we played well. We went to a team that hasn't lost for over a year at home. Granted, it's championship games, but still, the championship is no pushover league. And we beat them. And we beat them without stressing. We beat them without last minute winners. And I read somewhere that we are the only team in the league not to have conceded a goal in the last 15 minutes.
Yep.
So, we have to be doing something right. And yeah, before an international break, it's wonderful to be able to have that victory early on a Saturday and then just enjoy the rest of the weekend and then enjoy
That
the
yeah.
international break. You know what I mean? So then everything is like coming up roses, and it's like, well, of course, it's Spurs. What else do you want?
Yeah, it's one of those things that playing 12:30 on a Saturday can be the worst or the best thing ever.
Mhm.
if
Definitely.
you if you win it, it's like you can just have a big stretch, put on the other
So
games and go. If anyone else loses,
I
doesn't
don't
matter who
care.
it is, there's a
Yeah,
positive there for me. I can
yeah.
really soak it in.
And I love that. I love to be able to come to 30, just and exhale. And the wife is like, everything cool? Because she's getting Spurs pop-up on her phone. She checked it once on my behalf. Funnily enough, this was, I think, the Super Cup, where I was really trying my best not to check out any of the scores or anything. And she had it on Facebook and she was looking. And ever since then, she keeps on getting messages telling her what Spurs are doing, what the scores are. She keeps getting these notifications. She's not a football fan, and she's kept it on, Jim. She kept it on for me. This is what
Oh.
she really loves me. Spurs they can be happy with, but they really, really support my madness with this team. But yeah, it does. It made for a really good weekend. Just chill and to let the team just carry you away in a wave of happiness.
Yeah, that's it. It's uh it's silly how much it does define our happiness in a weekend. But whenever Spurs win and Arsenal lose, I always imagine, well, if either Spurs lose or Arsenal lose, there's roast dinners being launched at Wolves all over the country, particularly in
Mm,
North London. And it just that whole international break loss feeling that had been going on for so long. It's so demoralizing. It was so painful to sit through because
it's hard.
I love the feeling of the international break when you can't wait for Spurs to come back. I love that feeling. I love watching our players with excitement and enjoyment, with optimism, praying they don't get injured because they've been playing so well. Whereas obviously the complete opposite when you lose, you just kind of you switch everything off and you just go, I'll be back
I
when,
know.
when Spurs are
I,
back.
I know. It's like Twitter's off, Instagram's off, BBC, not looking at that. Oh, the sports, no, no, and you're consciously trying to decouple yourself from what's happening with your team because you just want to filter out of your mindset and out of your mentality. But when they win, it's like, oh, I'm going to read every single piece of content I can find, listen to every podcast, this one twice, and it's just that you want to just bask in it, right? You just want to bask in that glory. And it's difficult because, as you know, I try to maintain a really good balance of not getting too high and not getting too low with supporting the club. Because at the end of the day, it's a game, it's a sport, and Spurs is an important part of my life. But my life is way bigger, and
Yeah.
all of our life should be way bigger than the team. And if that team is providing such a central point in your life and you don't work for them or play for them or invested in them, then something's out of balance
I,
there. So,
I feel like there's different mindsets you can take with it. You can kind of see it as I am a part of Spurs and I'm going on their journey,
mhm.
or I invest my time and money in Spurs, and therefore there's an obligation from them to meet what I deem as the right level of service, if you get what I mean. And I think
Yeah,
that
that's hard.
drives very different reactions to things because
It does.
you can really try and like empathize at a human level with players and all that kind of stuff, and try not take it too seriously when you lose. No, you do take it seriously. That's the wrong way. Try not let it define
Yeah,
your relationship with the club when you're doing badly versus you're doing well. You just want to, I want to be in a constant, I love them, whatever, and I can't control that. Or you can say, I do have an ounce of control here and I'm going to exercise it to my maximum and I'm going to demand things and expect things. But we have got some questions coming in. So Ross says, what were your thoughts on Odebert, Roston, in the last game? He got his opportunity on the left wing. I think a lot of us were happy to see him given a
I
chance. But
I
go on.
like watching I like watching this guy play. He's has a really silky touch, and at the end of the day, he's a young man. He is, I don't know, I don't know if he's 100 games into his career yet. He had some bad injuries last year, but he looks like a player, and he looks like somebody who can develop into a really good player for Spurs. And once he gets, I think, to a point where he feels confident in his station in life, being at a massive club now, the expectation on him and his own development as a player and his comfort with level with the team, you can see that it's someone there who can beat people at will, right? So that's a very, very difficult thing to do in the game of football. So if you've got that as part of your primary skill set and you have to just learn the decision making part after it, then you're going to add value as a player. So yeah, this is somebody who I'm excited to see develop and go forward, and let him develop at the pace that is necessary, like all of the other young players, because these people are babies.
Yeah.
I'm like more than twice as old as most of the players in our team. So it's like, let them just grow, because at 20, I couldn't imagine doing what these guys are doing in their life and
Uh,
their career.
get a highlight reel of all the stupid things I said at 20. And I don't mean like, nasty stupid. I just mean like stupid.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
like the fact that the thought of 20-year-old me with a responsibility of that level of money, that level of sponsorship, that level of responsibility in front of an audience that big, it probably wouldn't end well. I can't imagine where it
it's
would
hard.
take me. But maybe I'm being a little
It's
harsh on
hard to,
myself.
yeah. No, well,
But
not really, because I think most average people will probably never experience that level, as you say, that level of scrutiny and your fame, money, and all of those things, and responsibility, right? Because once you're wearing that shirt and that crest and that badge, we like to feel, and I think the management and the coaching staff like to instill that sense of responsibility to these people, to say,
yeah,
look, you're playing for Spurs, so this is a big deal. It means something. It matters. So,
yeah.
where are you getting that from at 20 in any other walk of life, really?
Joe, have we got you back? Are you with us?
Seems
Yes,
to be.
yes, I am live.
You're
Third
sounding crisp.
headphones.
You're sounding
Good
crisp.
to
You
go.
sounded good. You sounded good, mate.
Wonderful.
Yeah, sharp as Shorthead Joe has ever looked. He
This is
sounds it too.
bright yellow. I didn't realize how yellow this was. My wife got me for Father's Day, or my son got me. Son got me for Father's Day. My 3-year-old
Yeah,
son.
yeah.
The 3 new kits. So that is big time for me. But I didn't realize how bright this is. It's
It's a
taken
good
up
point,
a.
Mike. Is this reversed?
Yeah, it must be flipped. I think.
It's flipped, isn't it? Damn it.
Yeah, for some I don't know why it flips, but Odebert. I actually, just to touch on Roston, I really agree with what you're saying, especially how young he is. He seems from the outside a little bit of a timid guy. For how timid someone could be that's a professional footballer, you have to have some sort of drive to get to that level that he's at. But so he needs to grow into a man. He's probably more of a man, as Jim said too, than I was at that age. I definitely concur with you, Jim. I was saying some ridiculous things when I was 20. But I really like how he partners with Udogie. I think they work really well together because Udogie was amazing against Leeds. And yeah, I think they sort of complement each other really well. And I like all I wish he could do was just get the final action for Odebert was just a little bit crisper, but there's no reason why he can't do that. If he gets a little bit stronger, he can strike the ball a little bit harder. I think that will come too. For some reason, Odebert and Tell, there's something about them both that I really like. They just give off good vibes to me. I guess maybe they're friends as well. So they celebrate really hard when we score. When Polina scored the equaliser, them two both were basically nearly on their knees, fist pumping. So they both really want to be part of this team and are putting a lot of effort in. So I think the future's bright with Odebert and Tell as well. So yeah, I'm bullish on both of them.
I was so delighted for Tell. So happy for him because
100%.
he's just, when I think some players get a reputation for not being the level required or whatever the vision, whatever the reason is for that,
Kill me now.
everyone looks for it. They look for it. So, but if you're on the other side of it, let's just say you're a Mickey van der Ven or you're a Jed Spence, you're today's flavour, you're everyone's favourite. You can almost do no wrong. But then on the reverse, if you're a Brennan Johnson or a Matisse Tell, people are like, oh, why is he standing there? As if they know where he should be standing. Why did he not run there? As if they knew what his instructions were in that moment. Oh, they finished 90 minutes and didn't score. But the other ones aren't mentioned. It just gets very toxic and negative. So for him to get that goal, I think it gives him a couple of games breathing space. The only person who's probably thinking this international break is really frustrating. Well, actually, we all are probably. It's finding it more frustrating than anyone else. It's probably Matisse Tell. He's probably thinking, my rivals are mostly out injured for this spot. Let's keep it going. I've got a goal, I've got some momentum. The crowd's going to be positive. A home game. Come on, let's go do this. And he's, yeah. Will says Odebert did 2 immaculate through balls, 1 each for Udogie and Xavi. Yes, he did. And I would say there was also moments, I think, where Odebert, Udogie and Xavi, Siemens could all have put a ball on a plate for Tell, various moments in that game, and didn't get their passes quite right, but they still had decent games. But one of those passes does go right, and you're talking about a brace from Matisse Tell, and I do think he potentially deserves it.
He hit the bar as well with a header, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's what 3 inches from scoring 2 goals. And it's all of these fine margins, right? Because you do the movements right, you do the technique just slightly off in that moment, and you miss, or in a parallel world, in a different timeline, you got that technique perfect and you score the second goal. But the point is, you did everything right up until that point, so clearly something's working. I love what Joe said about the passion with which these guys are celebrating, because I noticed that since Tell has joined, even when he was on loan, that passion was always very, very evident in his celebrations, in his actions, and in what he's saying, what he's doing on the pitch. So clearly, this is somebody who being part of Tottenham Hotspur means a lot to him. And, we maybe sometimes as supporters either put so much on the players because we're seeing them through our eyes as supporters, or you don't put enough because you're thinking, oh, it's just a job. And it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. And sometimes it's column C and a little bit of D sprinkled in. It's never just the one thing. So he said it earlier about people just going, oh, why didn't Johnson run? Why didn't Johnson do? Why does everybody want Johnson to be a step over merchant? That's not his game. That's not how he's being coached. That's not how he's being told to play the game, clearly. But when he does the things that he is asked to do and he executes well, brother scores goals like Ronaldo.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. It's a bit like the Paulinho stuff, isn't it? It's like, oh, he can't pass. And again, we know. Yeah, but he can't pass. Well, he can pass. He just can't pass as well as Maddison or Siemens. Yeah, but he can't pass as well as them. Yeah, we know. That's fine. He's not here to do that. Can we let it drop? But I just wanted to put a couple more questions up. Just a chill guy. I thought it was just an Achilles guy for a second there. Is Thomas Frank the right manager to realise Gray's potential? Now, it threw Joe into the main stage. Oh, Roston's back, but
oh, I was gone? Sorry.
No, you weren't gone. The camera setup we got, it flips us into the main frame, depending on who's going to take the question. It flipped Joe and then flipped you in, but I feel like we owe Joe this one. Joe, is Thomas Frank the right man to realise Gray's potential, talking of young players?
Gray's a unique situation because he played so much last year out of necessity. So I don't know if we don't know if he was ready last year. He wasn't ready to play centre back, but I don't think he's ever meant to be ready to play centre back because the few cameos he's had this season in the centre of the park, I think he's been fairly good. When he came against Bodo, I thought he was good. He seems good at an 8. He probably needs more experience to play the 6. So it's just that we have a lot of that 8 position in the squad, and he's young, and we don't see behind the scenes of a training what's going on, whether he's just good, but he's really confident in Bentancur's ability because of his experience. Frank seems to love Bentancur. Bergvall has played great pretty much all around. I think he's more of an 8 than a 10. Now Xavi's coming in into the more of the centre of the park. It takes another person out of the midfield. Sarr has been great when he's played, probably a bit rusty the last 2 games, you could put it. So it's just a lot of guys there, and he's 19 now. Has he turned 19 yet? Archie Gray. So it could just be that he's just in that pecking order. But I have really liked how he's looked when he's played the cameos, when he's come on. So we might see him. The next cup game is Newcastle, or do we have another cup game?
Yeah. Newcastle around 4.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see when he gets minutes. But if you extrapolate the cameos, then yes, into it, because he's played well under Frank. It's just that he hasn't got the minutes to really push on. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, I'm one of those with him that feels like his stage of his career, the most important thing is his development over all else. We need to focus on that. How do we get the most out of Archie Gray's growth rather than what can he add to the team right now at his age? And it's finding that balance, right? I think if we sign another midfielder in January who's a deep line playmaker. Sorry, I got trying to be a bit healthier at the moment, and my snacks have gone from crisps and chocolates to nuts, and they get stuck in your throat.
You're allergic. You're allergic.
Yeah, I might.
Jim's gonna have an allergic reaction live stream.
Yeah.
We'll go viral if that happens, Jim.
That is a different kind of podcast and a different kind of YouTube stream.
Yeah.
How to talk someone through from the other side of the world of an allergic nut reaction. That's the podcast now.
Yeah. It would go viral. Hopefully it would go viral. I want to go out with a bang.
But you get to see it go viral, Jim.
Sorry. But yeah, so yeah, Gray, I think as long as they can see him getting enough minutes this year, I want him to hang around and be carefully managed. But if there's a world in which we're saying he's going to get 20, 30-minute cameos at the end of a few cup games, I would love him to get a loan and come back as a slightly higher up on the pecking order next season. But as things stand, I think he's been managed well. He's going to get enough minutes for what he needs right now. And he's definitely got a purpose in the squad, personally.
Yeah. I think it's a good point about his development, because maybe we forget that we don't know what it takes to develop a footballer for the long term, right? Because we haven't done as much of that. Recently, over the last few seasons, there hasn't been a lot of young players coming through and really having their pathway worked into a team which is firing and working, or whatever. You either have the extreme of them being ignored, sent on loan like forever, and maybe turning into Harry Kane, but maybe also turning into Harry Winks. Bless you, Harry, both of you. Or you've got what we seem to be seeing now, where someone like Gray, you could see him going on loan if we have another midfielder in. But also, depending on what Frank wants to do, he might be saying, look, this is your plan. These are the minutes that we're going to give you for this reason. Because, they're working with a lot of information that we just don't have as supporters on the outside. So you don't know whether he's already got this thing laid out and said, you're going to play X amount of minutes this season. It's going to be these kinds of games. And as long as there's no injury crisis, this is what we see for you. And then next season, we do something different because we see how it's going to do your acceleration. What did Xavi say about, Frank when he joined? He said he laid out his future, didn't he? And said, this is where you can improve. This is what I can do for you. It's like properly planned out. And Xavi was like, wow, this is why I'm coming to Tottenham, because this man knows what he wants to do for me in my career. And, if he can do it for somebody who's already had that established level like Xavi, then no doubt he's going to be looking after Archie Gray and the other youngsters in the team and getting them to develop the way that they need to develop.
Well, I had another question, guys. Is Tell ahead of Richie in the pecking order after his last performance? We come back from the international break, and they're the only two fit strikers. Who starts?
I'm going to say he isn't, because of the boring reasons of that Richie has more experience, and Frank will just go with that. So I'm trying to put my Frank hat on and say Richie is just the more experienced guy. But I think Tell has a higher ceiling. So if I was playing FIFA, I'd be playing Tell, but I'm not. We're playing Premier League opposition and Champions League opposition. So I think, Richie still would be in Frank's eyes ahead of him. Does anyone have a different thought to that?
No, I think Richarlison plays, if he's fit and he's happy and he's healthy, I think he plays as first pick. But I think Tell has done himself absolutely no damage. He's shown seriously strong mentality, and he's shown that he's on an upward curve. The games that he's playing, you can see improvements. You can see him working. He's training hard. So I don't have any doubt that if Frank decides, no, Mattis plays this game, people will be like, okay, fine. He's going for it, and he can put in performances like he did against Leeds. So, that's a good place to be in.
Yeah, quite agree. Talking of other players and minutes, folks. Not sure if you can see that on your screen right now, but this is from, again, Just a Chill Guy, or Just Achilles Guy, as I read it in my head the first time. How many minutes do we think Kinski's going to get this season?
Kinski.
I know Kinski.
It's Kinski. But he's written Kinksy.
Kinksy.
Damn.
Oh, well spotted. Do we?
Well, my sorry,
Go on,
Jim.
Joe.
Can I just say my kink is defending Vicario. So
let's do that.
No,
I think we should do a little bit of, not necessarily defend or send negative things his way, but should we discuss Vicario for a minute and then lead on to Kinski? Go on, Joe.
There was a moment really early on in the game where there was a cross came in, and Vicario just was basically completely out of position, and it went over his head, and it went over everyone's head, and I think it was Roston that hit the corner of the crossbar, or the corner of the goal, and the commentary was like, Vicario has given up an opportunity here. even if Vicario hadn't come out of position and just kind of flopped around a little bit, he wouldn't have got near that ball. It's kind of like we have this, the world of football punditry seems to have this thing against Vicario. I do agree that he makes some mistakes, but he is one of the best shot stoppers in the league. There's not many. There's 3 or 4. Allison, Pickford. There's probably a couple more guys I'm just not thinking of that are better, just on the same level of shot stopping as he is. Yeah, he kicks the ball out of play a fair bit, trying to hit those sidelines, but he's definitely getting a little bit better. That palming that ball out into the Okafor's goal against Leeds, I mean, don't know how far more he could have put it out to the side. It's kind of those ones it seems like Vic can make a save to get us that 3 points at the end of that game, and that's forgotten about because he ran under the ball a bit too much and from a cross. Or his parry wasn't at 90 degrees, it was at 85 degrees, and that's just the end of the world. So I kind of just feel like we have this, I don't know, goalkeepers, they never get the glory. I'm not saying Pickford is better than Vicario. I'm just saying he's a good shot stopper. Just that one skill. But yeah, do you guys think that there's a narrative against Vicario, or is the narrative correct that Vicario is a massive liability? Because I hear his commentary say all the time that they need to upgrade Vicario, and I just don't see how.
Who?
How?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's
who you upgrading Vicario to? Donnarumma? No, you can't do that. He's gone to Man City, and then after that, you're like, I mean,
like who? Yeah, Martinez. Yeah. Like
Donnarumma is one of those shot stoppers that I should have mentioned. Yeah. He's a great shot stopper, but he has the same weaknesses as Vicario in terms of ball playing ability. Sure. He's probably better on the crosses as well. He's a better goalkeeper, but yeah, who are we going to get better than Vicario at the moment?
All our keepers have always had skill gaps. Like if you have the perfect keeper, they're probably not going to be playing for Spurs. We're being really transparent. If you had like a full-on 10 out of 10 keeper in every department, there's not any I can think of in the world that are completely flawless.
And those are like the elite of the elite, right? So yeah, you're not having them playing for Spurs. Not at this stage of our development, or this stage of our of where we are, because there's always a Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or Barcelona or whatever. But I don't think Vicario is this massive liability that hashtag narrative is making him out to be, which is ridiculous, because you see it with commentary all the time. They did it with Ange, they did it with other stuff. It's like there's this idea that a couple of pundits will kick around, and then that gets picked up on, and then the pickup gets picked up on, and then next thing you know, it becomes this whole story. And it's like, this is absolute nonsense. Because the thing with the 2 points that I remember from the Leeds game specifically was that cross that Roston hit. That looked really high for Vicario to be trying to get that. And if he did get it, he would be coming through a crowd of bodies. He'd be at full stretch. And unless he's 7 foot tall and can jump like Spider-Man, then there's a problem with him catching that ball safely and securely, right? Just going away from goal, and it's the wrong angle. But you don't see that unless you know what you're talking about, and unless you know what to listen to. And the other one, there was actually when he made that first save against who took the shot that Okafor put in? You know what? It doesn't matter who took the shot. That's not the important thing. He saved it, but it was a double bounce. So he saved it, and then the bounce, which he cannot control, came off his arm, went into Okafor's path, completely unnecessary. I think the first stop, it would have been right in front of him, because I watched the way the ball bounced, but then it spun off the turf, hit his arm, and then went off. That's very, very unfortunate. But then his teammate is not with it. I think it's Udogie, and he's not aware to the danger at that point. Next thing you know, it's a tap in because Okafor is ahead of him. Okay, so that's Vicario's fault, or is it just hashtag narrative? That's simple, that's easy, that's lazy. Let's just do that. No, man, we gotta do better.
Yeah, it's the whole, like you say, we all get frustrated. It's funny, we create a lot of these narratives and we get frustrated when they don't go. Like the Romero one, we used to always joke, he gets injured for international breaks. Oh, if I could choose any player to get in the ring with on my side
Yeah. Or
playing
he's going to get
WWE,
sent off 5 seconds.
yeah, how many red cards is Romero going to get? And then we go, like, oh, I can't believe the commentators playing into that narrative. It's so not fair. It's not true. And so we created it. We just like Romero more now because he signed a new contract. So we're annoyed about the narrative we created about him when we found it frustrating that we didn't think he liked us back. we seem to just be, yeah, anyway. But hi, Navi, good to see you. Hope you're well and having a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world.
Hello to you.
Will says to the
What do you
panel,
need to do?
what do we need to do to turn around our home form? Guys, why is our home form different to our away form, in your opinion? Oh, and just quickly before we do that, guys, Sean the Gooner Slayer is back in the house. How are you, Sean? Good to see you, mate.
Hey, Sean.
If you don't know Sean Roston, he's married to Beyonce, and he dresses as Timon. Is it? No, it's which one is it he dresses as, Joe? In the play, anyway, he often does in live shows from The Lion King. He's an actor. But anyway, so Roston, why is our home and away form so different, and what do we need to
Do you know
to
what?
fix it?
The people are gonna throw pelters at me, but I don't care. I'm like, bring it on. I haven't been to a home game in absolutely years. I think I might have shared some of that, partly due to family, partly due to moving and all this sort of thing. And I hate that. But on the flip side, you look at the stadium, you look at everything, and it's like, this is an amazing stadium. This is 60,000 Spurs supporters. This is the White Wall, and this should be an arena where fans of the opposite team are scared to come to, because it should be just be Spurs, Spurs, Spurs. From the 0th minute to the 90th minute, it should just be Tottenham being chanted, singing the songs, waving the flags and the banners, because you see that in a lot of European games and a lot of other like lower league clubs and areas where the support is just consistent, even if the team's losing, right? The support is consistent, and there's this conversation that's to be had about whether the team should make the crowd perform or whether the crowd should make the team perform. It's a very, 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 very fragile dynamic. But is it easier for people to get up and to sing, even if you're not loving what you're seeing on the pitch is a bit frustrating because the team's struggling? Is it easier for people to start a song and sing? Or is it easier for the people in the pressure situation on the pitch with the other 11 players trying to stop them from playing to just suddenly whip out some magic and start playing? And which one has the better effect? Do you hear your team chanting for you? Do you perform a little bit more? Do you try and pull some magic out of the bag when you're already struggling and then make the crowd chant? That's the
It's
question.
true. I guess it's
That's the question.
Yeah, but the atmosphere is typically, I think, definitely in recent seasons, maybe in the last 5 or 6, it's always felt like
It's a
you
little
go a goal
entitled.
down, and it's more negative than it is, come on, let's do this, we can beat them. It's more,
This is
we're
it.
pathetic. How
Yeah.
did we concede that goal? And it just gets more difficult for the players. I think that's fair.
I think a
that's
couple
just
of players have
gone.
said that as well. I'm sure I've heard some, or remember reading one or two players, not necessarily calling out the crowd, not at all, but just acknowledging that it's when you're already under pressure and you're feeling the weight of the world trying to turn things around on the pitch and it's not quite going well and the crowd is silent or worse, edgy, it can't help. It can't make things better.
Yeah, I think as Will says, though, I think it's fair. Like Will, we're not saying it. I just hit the wrong comment there. No one's done anything wrong doing that. I'm a season ticket holder too, right? And I'm culpable for us going behind. And I think you're right. When it's 17 home defeats, it's pretty hard to get G'd up again, to go again. But what we're saying is, because it means so much to everyone in that stadium when you go behind, it is very hard thing to force. The energy and the positivity to lift the team. It's not the natural thing to want to do. The natural thing to do is scream into a pillow in frustration and just get that energy out and just have one of the Spurs players take care of it, score a goal, bring you back in the game so you can feel happy again. But what we all know is if we all stood up and got fully behind the team and really went for it, me included, in that crowd, we'd help them. But it's so hard to do. But yeah, and whereas you're away from home, you don't necessarily, you've got, I think the away support in particular they're your core, aren't they? I always credit them with the fact that they have always, even for that really tough season, on the vast majority of occasions, managed to bring an atmosphere to wherever they went. And fair play to them. But just quick bits on the other question.
Is that Ching Yu saying something to Will? Leeds fans at one goal down were much louder than our home fans. And the thing is, I don't want anyone to think that I'm calling out. I would never, because I can't get there. So I have to live my Spurs life vicariously for people in the stadium doing that. And what I'm saying in direct relation to Will's point is, the question is there. Is it easier to struggle through the performance on the pitch if it's already not going well? Or is it easier to put your own frustration aside and say, for the team that we want to perform, and for the 60-odd thousand people around me to get a better experience, I'm going to stand up and sing something. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself back to put the team first.
Well, Ken Kate agrees with you, Roston. But yeah, I think we'll reiterate it again, everyone. We're not saying anyone's done anything wrong. We're just saying it's just the reality. When you play at home, whatever club you are, the typical reaction of any team when they go behind at home isn't to stand up and be raucous. It's to go, and I'd say there's differences. It's like you're a newly promoted side. You're just buzzing to be in the Premier League, and you know that any point anywhere is what you need from any game. So you're just pumped up to get that point. But when you're Spurs, and I think you're like, come on, top 4 is the hour where we want to be this season, and you see it slipping away and further away game after game, it's much harder to get elated about the idea of coming back to get a point against Wolves. Whereas if that was in Leeds Stadium, they'd be absolutely buzzing because that point could be the one that keeps them up. So it's just different perspectives from different roles. But
just to touch on it, it's hard for me to comment on the fans because I'm on the other side of the world, and it would be an easy one. There's a couple of things that sort of come to mind in it, though. Is when we're at White Hart Lane, I don't remember this ever being a question. I don't remember really boos happening. But the variable between us being at home and us being away is we're at home and away. Really, that like this, it should be harder for us to play away, but there's something that's stuck when we're playing at home. When we're at Allen Road on the weekend, their fans are loud. It's a good atmosphere there, and we could still hear the Tottenham away fans on the TV.
Yeah.
So the away fans are always up for it, but when we get at home, for some reason, sometimes boos start to ring out, and that seems like a new thing, like a 1 or 2 year. I mean, that ties up with how last season thing, but we get boos if we're drawing 1-1 at half time, and I don't know what it is.
I think you don't often hear. To be fair, I don't hear the boos in the stadium, and then I come back and watch the TV, and I hear the boos.
It's AI. It's AI.
I think something. I think they crank that up. I think they consciously do that to create a little bit of, you can hear the fans are not happy with X manager in the dugout.
Who would do that?
Things are starting to turn.
Are we talking about the people who are responsible for?
I think the broadcasters. I think they do it to drive a narrative and a bit of atmosphere. They crank up the boos.
I won't put it past them to do something like that. Yeah. But it is a strange thing that we see. But I mean, I've been to the new stadium once, and the atmosphere was good then, but that was prior to finishing 17th in the league. So it's probably just a frustration of last year or last season, and then I mean, I feel like we've started off really strong this season. But if it's that I guess with the TikTok society now, where things are just so instant and fast that people want things to be exactly how they want it. If not, they'll unsubscribe. So maybe they're unsubscribing from
try unsubscribing from Tottenham. It's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They can't.
Yeah.
So it's the only thing you can't unsubscribe from is being a fan of the football club you're a fan of. So you've got to let it out another way. But the away fans are always amazing, in my opinion. Even the guys that could make it up to Bodo.
Yeah, they are. We got good away support.
Respect
really
to
good.
all the Spurs away fans, man. They bring it. They bring it when they say that.
And they go through great lengths to be there. So yeah, guys, I do need to wrap up now, but I just want to shout Sean the Gooner Slayer, who kindly donated. But on this new piece of software, I can't put the donation message up for some reason. But Sean kindly donated to the show this evening. Thank you very much, Sean. Very kind of you, mate. And great to have you on, Roston. Ross, good to see you in the comments, mate. We must get you back on as well when you're... actually, I don't know if I can mention what goes on in the other WhatsApp groups, but all I'll say is come on, Holland. We know what that means. We know what that means. And I will catch you soon. But as always, Joe and I will be back next Sunday. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.